Hi everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Lauri. Today we have a bonus feature, if you will. We are going to talk about how you box corners on our tote bags and how fun and easy that is to do. Before we get to that, our bonus, if you will, we had a lot of questions about glitter lately and recently, so I thought I would, answer a few of those and hopefully help dispel some of the questions. And we'll get started with just that. So, I've been having lots of fun testing, experimenting. That's what I like to do. So what we did is we tried several different things with the glitter just to see how durable the glitter is. Our Kimberbell appliqué glitter sheets, I'm going to show you the very first one. I put it in the microwave for 4 minutes, and you can see it kind of curled the edges just a little bit after 4 minutes in the microwave, but that's more than enough to boil water. So, and it peeled right off. It came right off. In fact, it was really easy to peel away. So, second thing we tried was a freezer, and this one I just grabbed right out of the freezer. It's been in there a couple of hours. Let me see if I can start it right here. And it peels right off. And it's still really, really durable. All right, the third one we tried, it was in the car dash. And I do have to warn you, it's not 100 degrees here. It's only 42 degrees here outside, but still in the car dash it gets a little bit warmer. So, and I don't know how, let's see. And that one peels right off. Sweet. All right, this one we just left outside for a little while, and like I said, it was 42 degrees, so it's pretty chilly here. I don't know if some of you may have snow already. Let me know if you have snow, because I love snow. All right, and oh yeah, that one feels pretty nicely. What do you think so far? So far they're working? All right. Oh, and we have one here, and this is boiling. It's been sitting in this boiling water for about 15 minutes. And I'm gonna get it out with a fork because I don't want to burn my finger.
Coming off.
It's still really hot.
I should have brought you a towel to dry it off. Sorry, Lauri.
Oh, that's okay. We'll shake it a little bit. All right. And let's see, we're gonna peel this one. Oh, and it peels right off. So there we go. I'm pretty surprised. It really is very nice and indestructible. That's pretty awesome. So, the last thing I wanted to cover was, this is one of our sweet feet. Isn't that cute? This little glitter high heel. What we like to do is we put this on a SVG cutting. So we cut this out. You can see where the ones we've already used and peeled off. But what's left over, and if you can see, that's the front side. And this is the back side. And when we cut our SVG files, we've put this in reverse so that we can peel it off from the back. So it cuts it, and it keeps this clear plastic sheet protector intact, and then you peel the glitter from that. And as you can see, it gets really thin right there. So where it's thin, I would be a little more gentle. I mean, that's really thin. So if you're peeling off something that gets really thin, I would be gentle and careful. It'd be like a piece of fabric. It can rip if it's that thin. So you gotta be a little bit careful right there. But you can see how much I can tug and pull on that, and it still isn't tearing. So that's that's a really good way if you're wanting to use SVG files. You cut those with the glitter sheet upside down. So the glitter it still has the protective sheet. You place that face down and you put that in your cutter and you cut it from that top side. And then, and the reason we thought about that was some of our questions, but the denim tote bag, look how fun this is gonna be. We're gonna show you something I was gonna make here. Isn't this cute? We're gonna put this on one of our denim totes. And so what I wanted to show you with this is the method of how we keep this adhered to our project. That is so key in making a project look good and work right, is making sure that this is adhered. So the first thing you do when you're doing applique in the hoop with the glitter is you peel this apart, and you're going to peel your glitter away from your protective sheet. And then what I did is I hooped my bag and I did the placement line. I laid my glitter sheet down without the protector sheet. I've peeled that clear sheet off and just the glitter. And then I've done a tack down line and then I trimmed. Now after you trim, this is the important part, so important if you want your project to work. And you'll see here, these irons are very hot, they're on. I have a larger iron, but as you can see, this one will not fit down in that hoop. And I don't want to burn my hoop, first of all, and second of all, that has to have complete surface, contact surface with that iron. So I'm going to cover that with just a fabric. I just use that as my protective sheet. And then I'm going to use a smaller iron and turn it all the way on high. I want this as hot as it can be. And I'll show you, I'm just going to do half of this. You push, you don't just let it set, you push and put lots of pressure on it for a full 15 to 20 seconds, which seems like a really long time, but that's the best way. It's got to get this glue going, because on the back side of this glitter this has got a glue, it's an adhesive. And so it's got to be heated up, but it's got to go through a heavy, thick sheet of the material. And so this material, it's pliable and it's soft, but yet at the same time, it's got a little bit of thickness to it. So I want to make sure that I hold it on there for a really long time, and I'm pushing the whole time. Good exercise, good workout. Now about halfway through, I like to flip my iron a different direction, and I'll just show you quickly. You see there's 4 little holes on the bottom of this little iron. If those 4 holes stay in the exact same spot the whole time, you're going to have 4 little bubbles on your glitter applique because it didn't adhere right in those 4 little spots. So I move my iron just slightly halfway through to make sure that all those little holes don't end up like staying little bubbles. All right, and I think that's good enough, and you can see this side is ironed down and you can see this side is not. Can you see how it's not adhered? Because I only ironed this side. And the other key thing is if you see any little bubbles, I take this fabric and I use it kind of like a credit card. If you ever scrape something with your credit card, I do my windshields with my credit card in the morning when it's frozen. Anyway, so that is, and then it's still hot. It is hot and it takes a minute. You got to let it cool all the way down before you take it back to your machine and stitch. So as you can see, this side's stuck down and this side's not. And I even had a little bit of heat on here, but not long enough. So what I like to do is I put it back on, now the other side, and I sing happy birthday to myself, because that's about 20 seconds, I guess, depending on how fast you do it.
That's a great
So we
tip.
could go, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. I'm gonna move it. And I'm actually gonna sing happy birthday to my friend Diane, whose birthday's tomorrow on Halloween. Happy birthday, dear Diane. Happy birthday to you.
All the Kimberbellas will be singing happy birthday to
Yes.
Diane now.
So after about 20 seconds, and remember I rotated it halfway through that song, then we're gonna pull it up, and as you can see now it is adhered. Ooh, but it's hot. So you have to make sure that you use a cloth. I always use a cloth, and I always make sure that there's no bubbles, and I let it completely cool. Now after it's cooled down, then I go stitch around it. If it starts bubbling up on you, it's because that glue never got hot enough to actually adhere to the best, to the fullest of what it's supposed to do. So give that a try. Now let's say you started stitching and it starts to bubble and you're like, oh no, I didn't get it hot enough. Now what do? I don't want to ruin my project. I immediately take it out and I take it over to the ironing board and I heat it up for that full amount. But don't panic, because when you pull it off, you might see a few little bubbles. But don't panic. While it's still hot, take your fabric. I kind of put it around my fingers so that it's thicker, and I just sit and I push and I move this around until I've smoothed out all the bubbles while it's still hot. That will work every time. So you can do the smoothing method. So if any of you have a project that you've already done and there's no vinyl, you don't want vinyl, next to this if you're heating it up that hot. But definitely give that a try. So I know I'd seen somebody said, I made it, but it had little bubbles. Go try that. Try putting some heat on it, like we had said, and wrap that up around your fingers and then rub out the bubbles. So give that a try see if that will help you. And that is how you would do the glitter applique. And if you want and you've got some of these glitter at home, give it a whirl. Try some of these fun things. It's kind of fun to experiment. I loved experimenting. I'm going to set that aside now, and I'll just show you, this is the glitter tubes that the glitter comes in right over here. And then right next to it is one of our other fringe designs. This is one of our fun, I think this is March, April. And if you turn down here at the bottom, you can see I've boxed out the corner of this tote bag. This is one of our blanks. But I'm going to teach you how to box those corners. Super fun, really, really easy to do. So this is the design as it's done with just the flat tote bag. So in order to box out the corners, the first thing I do is I take my tote bag and I'm going to flip it so it's right sides together, wrong side out. And this is so easy. You guys are going to go, what? When I first learned, I'm like, it's that simple to box out something? I don't know why I haven't done it before. All right. So I'm going to show you, and there's more than one way of doing this, but this is the way I liked and I've learned how to do it. So I just this is part of the Kimberbell Orange Pop rulers. You could use any ruler. And what I'm going to show you is I marked on here so you could see it. That's 1.5 inches. And if I mark a box that's 1.5 by 1.5 on this corner, and I'll show you, there's 1.5 there. And then I'm going to mark it this way, and there's 1.5 there. And then I'm going to draw the lines. And I'm going to draw the line this way. All right, and I make a little box. Now you might say, I don't know how big I want to make that box. So what I'll tell you is this box is 1.5 by 1.5 inches. So if you double 1.5 by 1.5, you get 3. So 3 inches is how big or how wide your base is going to end up. So if you look at this base down here, this base is 3 inches because I boxed this at 1.5 by 1.5. So that's all there's to it. If you want it to be 4 inches wide at the bottom, then make your box 2 inches by 2 inches and it will be 4 inches by the time you're done. All right, so after you've made that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to open the corner up so that you're pinching the corner of the box that you made. You see that on both sides. I'm pinching that corner, and then you're going to line up both of these lines. Now, you probably were going to go, how do I know those lines line up? Well, if you take a pin, and I'm going to poke it through the line on the back, you can see how it comes right through the line on the front. So I know that those are lined up. So that's just one way of telling that they're lined up. And if you want to pin it at this point, that would be a great idea. Now you can take it to your sewing machine and you just stitch right along that line, or you can trace the line across if you'd rather and make it a little bit longer so that you've got a complete line to follow. Either or, that works. And then once you've stitched across that line, you're gonna come up with, here's one I already stitched, and I stitched it in black so you could see the stitching. So you can see right here, I stitched that line in black all the way across, and that's the bottom, and there's the top. So now you can take your scissors and you can trim that off. You can leave it like it is, but for the bulk, if you're making it really wide, I would cut that little corner piece off. And you can serge or zigzag that end. But when you're finished then, you pop this inside out. And there's your boxed corner. And that's how you box a corner. Super simple.
Looks so good.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So it's lots of fun. And even on the larger denim tote bags, they're a little bit bigger. So you could actually, this is something fun. I thought this was really simple and easy. I just used our half square triangle, and there's one that's 2.5 by 2.5 inches right here, which gives you a 5-inch box out. And I just basically match up the corners. And if you're drawing onto denim, of course I would be on the inside of the denim, not the outside. But instead of, you would just use like a white marking pencil so that you can actually see your lines. And there you go. How fun is that?
That's way
really fun.
Yeah.
Box out corners. It just makes your bag sit or stand up. You can see this bag standing up quite easily. And lots of fun. So I hope you enjoyed our Tuesday tips. I don't know if we have anybody with questions.
Doesn't look like it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you tuning in. I hope this helped. I hope you can have fun boxing your corners and have fun experimenting with your glitter. Lots of fun. Thank you. Bye-bye.